Alrighty, well, hey everyone, welcome back. So today's Tuesday. What do we have today? Well, we had some good news. Sailor bought another 21,000, but Bitcoin was in the red. What the hell is going on with that? We'll talk about it, obviously. We'll talk about Bitcoin being down, miners being down for the most part. I think there was maybe one miner that was in the green today. We'll look at that, what's going on there. Not MicroStrategy. Mara reported their Q2 results. We'll take a look at their numbers, what that actually all means, where do they come in at, right? All that stuff. We'll take a look at that. We'll go through the financials as well. What else we got here? Bitfarms news as well, and we have a bunch of bullish news stories on Bitcoin as well, and we also will take a look at the Ethereum holding companies as far as what's their MNAV right now. I have like 7 or 8 of them right now as it is. I'll give you guys my thoughts on it, and we'll go from there. All right, but as always, you guys know the drill. Not financial advice, for only. Do your own research. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously, and let's get into what's going on here with Bitcoin and Bitcoin miners as it is. We can see that Bitcoin was down just a little bit today. It was up, it was down, it finished out more or less flat. I mean, it was down just 0.12% on the day. We can see that on the chart here. If I zoom in for you guys can see it. We're down just a little bit now again in the new day. So, I mean, we're holding 117,000 pretty well. We've been holding that pretty well for quite a while here. So this might be our support here right now. I think we're just building a nice footing for a nice step upwards in price. When that's going to happen, I don't know. But we're just seeing a heck of a lot of buying here, buying not only strategy, others as well. So I think we're getting ready to go up another leg up here, right? When it's going to be tomorrow, don't know. Could be next week. Could be actually when we get into July here. Right? Maybe they're holding it down so we don't have too much price appreciation here in July. So maybe in August is when we're going to have another leg up here. We shall see on it. But the markets were all down today as well. Obviously, the FOMC meeting was today as well. Not much happened there. So it was a nothing burger on that one. And we'll see what happens in September, right? When they have their next meeting, I believe it is in September. So maybe at that point we'll get some rate cuts. We'll see if that's the case there. Other than that, let's see here. Ethereum, how did that one do today? That one was down in the red again today as well. So we can see that happening here. It's down in the red a little bit here, but it's also like down the same amount as Bitcoin was down, 0.16%, nothing major there. But obviously the miners didn't do too well. Bitfarms was down 3.13% here. BitDeer was down 5.29%. That one's definitely come back down to the 50 SMA here. Kind of bounced off of that. Cango was down 3.61. That one actually broke below the 50 SMA and closed there. Cypher went down 7.79%. Cleanspark was down 2.49%. CORZ was down 4%. Bounced off the 50 SMA as well and got up there. Hive was down 3.15%. Hut 8 was down 3.10%. IREN was down 4.76%. Bounced up a little bit here after being lower at that point. Mara was down 3.21%. It's actually up in the after hours right now. We'll take a look at that in a minute. Riot was down 6.27% here, having a 3-day correction, looks like a little bit. And Wolf was actually the one that was up 2.35%. I didn't see any news from them. At least on their website, I didn't see any recent news. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but they're holding kind of this line here anyways, around $5 something, so they're just kind of back to where they were. MicroStrategy here, even though they bought a bunch of Bitcoin here, they got their, what do they call the new ticker, Strike or something like that. They got too many tickers as it is right now. But that one's down 2.26% here. That one's continuing to go down even though they keep accumulating more and more Bitcoin here. They did close below the 50 SMA. On them, we'll see where that one goes. Galaxy was down 9.29%. Coin was down 2.12%. MetaPlanet was actually up 0.59%. That one's trading kind of flat sideways as well. Ever since it got below the 50 SMA, it's kind of flat right now. Exodus was down 4.76. That one is down below all the 100, 200, and the 50 SMAs. On that one, this is Nextcon. That one was actually up 0.33. Semler was down 6.75. That one's also now down below the 100 SMA. The blockchain group here is down another 7.16%. Phoenix was up 1.6. GameStop was down 1.87%. Small miners were down as well quite a bit. Any was down 8.74. Argo was down 6.5%. DigiPower was down 9%. DMG was down 2.62. Mawson was down 6.9. Canon was down 10.87. Bitcoin ETF for the miners were all down 3.4% roughly. So definitely getting them beaten, even with Bitcoin being flat more or less. I mean, we can see Bitcoin being flat, but we can see these guys going down here. And that's a result of the miners going down as well. All right, WGMI, you can see those guys coming down. Bitcoin more or less is flat. Ethereum holding companies here, we can see Digital was down 2.33%. They did provide a statement that they are getting ready to get their new ticker symbol for white fiber. We'll talk about that. That's in the news section as well. BTCS was down 2.13%. BMNR was down 8.86%. Game was down 15%. That one went below the 50 SMA here recently today. Actually closed below it. SBET was down 8.82% as well. And you can see these guys coming down for a number of days here, which I think is a good thing. They got a little overheated here. I mean, we can see, where's Ethereum? Ethereum during those times was actually climbing while these guys were going down, right? Doesn't really make much sense there, but they got overheated, I think, and they needed to correct. We'll take a look at the MNEF for those guys coming up here in a little while. But right now in the after hours, we can see that BitDeer right now is up just a little bit, 0.3%. Bitfarms is actually flat. CanGo is down another 3.61%. Cypher is actually up 4.4%. We got Cleanspark being up just a little bit, 0.68%. Then we got CORZ Scientific being up 0.08. Hive flat, it looks like right now. Hut 8 down 1.2%. IREN being down 1.2%. Mara being up 3.97%, almost 4% there. But then we got Riot being up 0.66%. And TeraWolf is up just a little bit, 0.19% on the day. Okay, so that's kind of where we're at right now. Looking for the Bitcoin right now. For the month of July, we're still up 10.05% more or less, so that's not too bad. So we are going to be in the green, it looks like. We have, what, 2 more days to go? We got tomorrow and Thursday to go, and then we're done with July. We'll get into August, and we'll see where we end up by that time. I don't think we're going to go down 10% in the next 2 days, but you never know. But I think we're going to end up in the green here. Probably around somewhere between 8 and 12% up probably for the month. We'll see. Bitcoin ETF inflows continue to be happening here. At least yesterday, we had a positive 157 million being the inflow there, with IBIT buying 147 million. Today, we'll find out what that actually comes to be. But right now, we're negative 83 million, so we'll see if IBIT actually bought more than 83 million there. Okay. Next, the good news stories, bullish news stories on Bitcoin, obviously. So, strategy, again, WTF, right? Strategy has acquired 21,021 Bitcoin for 2.46 billion at 117,256 per Bitcoin, and has achieved Bitcoin yield of 25% year to date as of 7/29/2025. We hodl 628,791 BTC acquired for roughly 46.08 billion at 73,277 per Bitcoin. You got MSTR, STRK, STRF, STRD, STRC. I mean, pretty soon we're gonna have the whole alphabet in there. But that's awesome to see that they're acquiring here. My question is, man, they just got this done. I think it was done today. Their new ticker symbol, and they were able to purchase almost $2.5 billion of Bitcoin that quickly. I don't know about you guys, but I can't move money that fast around. If I try to put it on the exchange or something like that, I have to wait sometimes 3 days for it to clear, and then I can buy it. But I know sometimes you can also, if you have some collateral on the account, right, some coins or something like that, and you deposit something, you can probably get it right away. But still, man, that's a lot to move. Also, if I move it from my bank or from someplace else to my bank, it takes like 3 days. They got 2.5 billion here, and boom, right away they were able to buy. I go on exchanges also trying to buy something like this, and I have to wait and wait and wait. I put in my price, right, and I wait. So that's kind of like what's going on there, right? They bought 21,000 Bitcoin. Price was actually red today for Bitcoin. Is it manipulation? Yeah, they're probably getting on OTCs and other places like that, which is not affecting the Bitcoin price. Which is kind of frustrating because you would think that having bought that many, it would move the price, but it didn't. We stayed at where we were at today. All right, so there's that. That's good that they keep stacking here. This is also good news here. Senator Loomis just introduced a bill to let Americans use Bitcoin and crypto for mortgages. So it's happening. I guess you're going to be able to use that as collateral or something, or be able to pay it with crypto. I'm not sure on that. We'll find out. But that's great. So more adoption happening here. And I thought this was kind of interesting as well. If you bought Bitcoin instead of every new iPhone, you'd have 242 million, right? So going back to when Bitcoin was created at that point, which is true, right? I mean, the iPhone came out, when did iPhone came out? 2008, I think it was, or 2007? Can't remember when it actually came out, but I know it was right around that same time that Bitcoin came out. So if you're buying an iPhone for $600, $500, $700, whatever it was, and you put that into Bitcoin at that point, and you kept doing it every year a new iPhone came out, you would have a lot. So let that sink in, right? Sometimes delayed gratification is the better way to go. Next here, just in, 12.5 trillion. BlackRock says Bitcoin is having a great year as the U.S. becomes the crypto capital of the world. This is a quote here. This has been a banner year for Bitcoin, up 25% this year as the U.S. is in the process of adopting a couple of key laws aimed at bringing digital payments and assets into the mainstream and making the U.S. the crypto capital of the world. So, I mean, they're happy with 25% gains. You and I, right, we're looking for 2x, 3x, 4x, 10x, whatever we can get on this stuff, but they're happy with 25% gains. That's a great year for them. So that's why I'm thinking this is going to be an extended cycle. They're just going to keep pumping this thing up, maybe 50% a year, 100% a year if we're lucky, but they're going to just take this thing as far and as long as they can, and as high potentially as well, to make the gains on this stuff. So they're happy with it, which in the end should make us happy as well. Next here, Jack Mallers' XXI, or 21, has instantly become the third largest Bitcoin treasury company. The Bitcoin treasury race is heating up. So you got Strategy now with over 620 some odd thousand there. Mara Holdings is with 50,000 plus. 21 Capital, I think it's called, is now at 37,000. So they're gunning for Mara there. Mara might be replaced here in the second spot here. We'll see in a couple months maybe. Bitcoin Standard Treasury Company has 30,000. Riot has 19,000. Trump Media and Technology has 18,000. Metaplanet has 17,000. Galaxy Digital has 12,800. And Cleanspark has 12,608. And Tesla has 11,509. So definitely a lot of companies there with a lot of Bitcoin there. And Strategy is still the king there. But that's interesting there. So that's another one that's going to be stacking Bitcoin as much as they can. And then this is just in, 21 Capital CEO says Bitcoin price is going higher because it's scarcity and a huge amount of buying demand right now. All right, so this looks very bullish for us. And I'm going to put in my headphones here, or try to plug in my earphones. Is there enough Bitcoin for me at 120,000? No, 130,000, 140,000, 150,000. Price will continue to discover higher. So let's take a listen to this really quick as well. And let's see what he has to say.
Game for you? Is it just to buy as much Bitcoin as you can and hold it for as long as possible and never sell it?
That's one of the goals, yes. But I think what makes us different than a lot of these other businesses is we plan to build Bitcoin products as well. I mean, the founding group is Tether and myself. I founded and lead Strike is one of the bigger Bitcoin financial services firms in the world. Tether obviously is one of the most impressive companies in the history of humanity, but specifically in building massive cash flows within the space. So Paulo and I, before we were CEOs, we were engineers. We built a lot of products. And so we plan to not only acquire as much Bitcoin as possible, raising capital in all sorts of deep capital pools, but also build products, build technology, build tools. I think when people eventually think of 21, it's are they a competitor to Coinbase? Are they a competitor to Strategy? For us, why not both? We think we have that potential.
Do you envision a future where Bitcoin treasury companies such as Strategy, Mara, and you guys end up buying so much Bitcoin that there really isn't actually much left out there on the open market for people to trade? After all, it is a fixed number of Bitcoin, so no more will be created once it reaches that number.
Right. You know what's fascinating about the asset, and it's not intuitive because it's so rare, is that, to your point, it is definitively scarce. So if everyone in the world wanted an iPhone, Apple could make more. If everyone in the world wanted a McDonald's cheeseburger, McDonald's could make more. The fact that Bitcoin cannot increase its supply means the new supply comes from the market. If you want more Bitcoin, you don't go to the Bitcoin factory to get one. You have to go up in price. Is there enough Bitcoin for me at 120,000? No. Okay, 130, 140, 150. So I tell you what, there's always Bitcoin available. Just depends on what you're willing to pay for it. And so what I think will happen is this price will continue to discover higher because Bitcoin is the scarcest thing. It's inelastic to the amount of demand that searches for it. So the amount of buying power that we're seeing from the capital markets, from the ETFs, and potentially from nation states like the United States, I think they'll find the supply they're looking for. They're just going to have to go get it at a higher price.
What's the end game?
And I agree 100%, right? You're going to have a point where we get to, and we're getting close to that if we're not already in it, where you have the supply shortage, and that's going to drive the price up. Yes, there's some shenanigans happening in the market where these guys are trying to manipulate the market as best they can, keep the price down for as long as they can to accumulate as much as they can, right, before it goes up too high. So eventually the price is going to go up. It's just we're going to have these steps, stepping stones basically of going up higher in price. We're going to go up higher. We're going to flatline, maybe go down a little bit, retract, correct a little bit. We're going to go back up as well. And so we're going to have these kind of continuation of an extended cycle here, I think, but we'll see. So that's great news there. Also, SEC approves in-kind creation and redemption for all spot Bitcoin ETFs. So basically, if you have an ETF, for example, IBIT, and you have however many shares of IBIT there, and you want to get Bitcoin out of it, you can now do that. They will actually would be able to send you Bitcoin instead of giving you dollars for it, basically. So that's great. How is it going to work on taxes? You have to ask the tax expert on that. I'm not one of those. But this is great. Obviously, more use cases, more adoption, more everything else. This is great. Next here also, this is BTCS to raise up to $2 billion to acquire more Ethereum. So now we're getting more into the Ethereum side of things. They're going to be obviously buying more here. We'll talk about them here in a minute as well when we look at them. Ethereum holding companies as far as where do they stack right now. On not only HODL, but also market caps and MNEV values right now. But they currently hold about 70,000 Ethereum, 263 million, and rank number 10 on the SER leaderboard there. I believe I have them in here in my list. We'll double check, but I think I do have them on my list. Okay, so that's kind of interesting there. That's still happening here, but yet we're still seeing some of the Ethereum holding companies going down in price while Ethereum was actually flat or going up, actually. So that's kind of interesting. I think they got overpriced, went up too high too fast. A little correction there. We'll talk about that shortly. And then this is White Fiber. This is obviously Bit Digital's baby there. White Fiber announces launch of initial public offering. White Fiber has applied to list its ordinary shares on the NASDAQ capital markets under the symbol WYFI, WYFI. That's going to be happening there. Let's see if we can maybe find out when is that going to be happening here. Okay, initial launch, public offering, 7.8 million ordinary shares. The initial public offering price is expected to be between $15 and $70 per share. In connection with the proposed offering, White Fiber expects to grant the underwriters a 30-day option to purchase up to an additional 1.2 million ordinary shares at the initial public offering price, less underwriting discounts and commissions. Let's see here. White Fiber has applied for the ordinary shares on NASDAQ capital markets. B. Riley Securities and Needham Company are acting as a joint book running managers for this. Let's see. McGuire Capital is acting as a book runner for the proposed offering. Roth Capital Partners is acting as the lead manager for proposed offering. Okay, so those guys are going to be making money there. What else do we have here? Do we know when this is going to happen? It doesn't say. So that's coming up. It'll be, I'm guessing, within the next couple of weeks, if anything. All right, so there's that. And then we got some news from Bitfarms here really quick as well. Bitfarms scheduled a second quarter 2025 conference call on August 12th. So that's basically 2 weeks away right now. On that one, we are, what do we have? We have Riot coming up here on Thursday, the 31st. They're reporting as well, and then we got more coming in August as well at that point. All right, finally here. Let's get into tomorrow here really quick. Tomorrow announces their second quarter results here. Revenue increased 64% year over year to 238 million. Net income increased 505% year over year to 802 million, or 808.2 million. And Bitcoin holdings increased 170% year over year to 49,951 from 18,488 at the end of Q2 2024, which was obviously in June. Okay, we do have a earnings presentation, which is this one here. Let me see if I can maybe zoom this in for you guys a little bit more. There we go. And take a look at what we got here. I did listen to the conference call as well. They did state that they are looking to open up headquarters in Europe, I think France, and also in Saudi Arabia, which was kind of surprising there that they're trying to make some deals happening there. Definitely worth listening to the conference call. They did have a question. Somebody asked them, what is their all-in cost to mine Bitcoin? Boy, they danced around that question as best they could. I don't think I even heard the answer correctly from them, or at least fully answered. They just gave a whole workaround and dance around that question from somebody here. So that was kind of interesting. Like I said, definitely worth a listen there. They actually had Q&A this time around, which was kind of nice. So they got 50 mining sites, 4 continents of operation, 1.7 gigawatts flexible compute capacity as it is right now. They got Paraguay, let's see, USA, UAE, and also in Finland there. Revenue, we talked about that already. Net income, adjusted EBITDA as well. You can see that was up 1,083% year over year to 1.2 billion. BTC holdings, obviously, BTC production up 15% year over year to 2,358. Blocks 1, and I think when I looked at this earlier today, they had a different number in here, and I think they provided actually what their cost to mine Bitcoin was, but under that it had one of those one of these things down below, where it said it was based on their self-mining or something like that. But it seems like they changed this around now, unless I'm dreaming. Maybe I'm hallucinating. My AI system is hallucinating right now. Energized hash rate up 82% year over year to 57.4, so that's good from 31.5. Liquidity, cash and BTC holdings of 5.4 billion at the end of Q2, plus 950 million raised subsequently, which was obviously yesterday. What else do we have here? BTC yield 5.2%, which is pretty low. And you got their results and partnerships that they're in, bridging financial and energy innovation through strategic partnerships. So they're trying to do some partnerships there as well. They're talking with some energy producers. They did state that they think that eventually the Bitcoin miners will have to be in bed basically with the energy producers in order to get as low cost as possible. I don't know if that's going to be the case. I think as long as Bitcoin goes up in value where it's still profitable for them to mine, they will be able to do it, even at the current cost that they have at 3.5 cents, 4 cents, 5 cents, whatever it might be. They can still definitely do it at that point. Q2 hash rate and block. So you got obviously nice growth there in hash rate. BTC block production has been kind of all over the place here. We'll see where they come in for July. We'll get that in a week or so. Number of blocks, one average BTC. Let's see here. BTC produced. Average block, BTC per day, share of available. Okay, that's just standard stuff there. Trading BTC production and holdings. So we are at BTC production here. BTC holdings, obviously, BTC production. On that one, what they're planning on year to date, BTC yield, that's fine. Financials, we'll get into financials here in a second, so we won't go over that. Let's see, cost per, okay, over the past 10 quarters, cost per petahash per day has declined 47%. They are, let's see, down 24% improvement year over year from Q2 versus Q2 of last year. They're at 28.7 right now. Cost per petahash, so that's definitely getting better. And there was something else that I saw here that I wanted to point out if I can find it. All right, let's see here. Current hash rate contribution mix, so 40% above 20 joules per terahash, and then 60% below 20 joules per terahash, which is pretty good. They're at 18.3 joules per terahash, which is actually pretty good. They're not the leaders there, but they're at least like in the top 5, I would say, on that one. And you can see all their capacity here where they have sites and everything else. This is owned, hosted. So Granbury is one of the biggest ones, 21% of their market. Bitcoin production, at least, Garden City. And then you still have quite a bit of stuff that's hosted here. You got McCamey, Ellendale, Jamestown. So it's still roughly, what is that, 45, 35%, something like that. It's still hosted with them on it. And let's see. I think that's it that I wanted to point out to you guys here. I don't see the number for cost to mine Bitcoin. They must have taken that out, I think. Maybe I'm mistaken, but I thought I saw that. All right, let's take a look at the numbers that I do have here for them. For Mara, number of shares did increase for them to 370.4 million right now, based on what they reported today. All right, so that gives them about 6.1 million market cap. Their BTC value is 5.8 billion, so hodl market cap is 95.57% there. Each share has about $15.87 of hodl value, if you want to look at it that way. Going down here, last 4 quarters revenue have been up and down. Q3, 114 million. Q4, 204 million. Q1, down 199 million there. Bitcoin obviously was coming down at that point. But Q2, we're at 218. Current quarter is estimated, right? We'll see what they come in for July. They'll kind of give me a little bit better numbers as far as how they're operating. But they might be actually down. We'll see on that one. Last 4 quarters operating cost minus depreciation here. I only have the 2 quarters because they changed stuff around the beginning of the year for some reason as far as the way they report their segments. So I have Q1 was 129 million, Q2 134 million there. Other metrics, cost to mine 1 Bitcoin minus depreciation. That's come down for them, so that's actually pretty good. Down to about 48,000 per coin. Obviously not including depreciations, not including also general compensations, stock-based compensation does not include any of that stuff in there, right? This is just electricity costs, right? What does it cost for them to mine a Bitcoin? Bitcoin mine quarterly here. Again, roller coaster ride a little bit on that. Debt to equity, lower is better, so that's down to 0.6, so that's looking a little bit better there. Current ratio, higher is better. That's actually come down here in Q2. That's, I think, because of all the convertible notes that they have, the debt out there for that. That's the main reason for it. Total current assets went down to 236 million. They moved some Bitcoin around. We'll take a look at that down below here shortly. Total current liabilities, 441 million. And then going down here, let's see, we'll take a look at some of these metrics here in a second. But down here, what do we have? Okay, current assets. Current assets decreased to 109 from 196 million. Restricted cash stayed the same. Digital currencies went down a little bit. Other receivables went up quite a bit, 31, probably because they're, I think because they're buying up more machines to get to 75 exahash. I think that's maybe the reason there. Other receivables went down a little bit to 19 from 22. Derivative instrument current portion stayed pretty much the same. Prepaid expenses and other current assets went up to 41. So total current assets went down to 236 million from 291 million there. Other current assets or non-current assets here, we can see that digital assets went up to 3.6 billion. And then they have digital assets receivable net 1.6 billion. So I think those are being used as collateral or being used as for not staking, but yield and all those trading things for that. Then you got property being up at 1.6 billion, sorry, with a B. Assets held for sale, only 6 million compared to 134. Advances to vendors, 134 million, so that's about the same as it was. Long-term prepaid went way up, 211 million. So I think this might be the miners that they're purchasing. Long-term deposits down to 12, so that's kind of where things switched around, it looks like a little bit here. Operating lease right of use, 32 million, so that's up a little bit. What else do we have here? Goodwill, quite a bit there, 82.7 million. And then total other assets, 7.4. Total, okay, that's the whole number there, 7.48 billion in assets, basically what they have. But they're valued at 6 point something there, right? But take out the debt and everything else, and you get down to a lower number. So total assets came in at 7.72. Current liabilities and stakeholder equity here. We can see current liabilities, accounts payable, up a little bit, 9.8 from 6.4. Then we have also accrued expense, up a little bit as well to 56 million from 45. Short-term borrowing still went up 350 million from 300 million there. Operating lease up a little bit to 1 million from 872,000. That's low. Other current liabilities 23 million from 15, so a little bit of an increase there. So total current liabilities did increase to 441 from 368 million. Convertible notes, that's going to increase as well. They just added another 950 million on top of it. So we're looking at, what is that, if my math is right, 3.2 billion, right? 3.2 billion, so that's going to increase, but they show 2.25 on this one. Operating lease liabilities, 39, up from 33. Then we also had finance lease liability current portion. That's up a little bit as well, 3.8 from 3.7, not a big deal. Other long-term liabilities went up to 12.0 from 11.8, not that huge of a difference there. And then we have total long-term liabilities, 2.4 billion. Total liabilities, 2.9, but that's going to be up to more than 3.8 billion here on that. When you include the 950 million that was added here just this week. What else do we have here? Going down here, total stockholder equity, 4.7 billion. Total liabilities and stockholder equity, 7.7 billion. Revenues, okay, this is what we care about. So revenues from contract with customers, only 3 million, that's up from 2.7. Mining operator transaction fees, 11 million there. And then we have mining participant, 1.1 million. What else do we have here? This is, okay, so total revenues from contracts with customers, that was 15.2 million there. Now, a mining operator block reward and other revenue, so their self-mining was 218 million. And other revenue was 4.9. I didn't get into as far as what that was, but that totaled a total of 238 million here. So I have them at, let's see, they stated 218. What do I have them at? Sorry if I go back up here really quick. 218. Okay, I was off. I had them at 229, but that's maybe including the other revenue as well. Let me see here. If we add those two together, really quick, where do we end up at? Total revenues, there it is. Okay, so we had this plus this equals 223. Okay, still off on that one. I was up by 2.76%. Still pretty close. Would have liked to have been a little bit closer on it, but maybe they're using a different pricing on Bitcoin when they got it. I'm using the average price, so that might be something that affects it. All right, going back down here to revenue side of things. See, costs, okay. See, this is what I mean, where they move stuff around on us. On some of the stuff you probably saw it up top as well. They did they changed the segments, I guess you could say, on the way that they report the stuff now. So purchase energy cost was 41 million here, which I believe is for their self-mining, right? So that's that. Third-party hosting and other energy costs, that is the portion that's hosted for them through somebody else. That's 69 million, right? So even though it's like 35% or something like that, 35% roughly of their business, but it's still a huge portion of it, right? And then we got compensation and related taxes was 22 million there. operating and maintenance costs was 22.3. So that's up as well. The only one that's down is the purchase energy cost for them. General and administrative expenses went up to 92.9 million. That also includes, I believe, the stock-based compensation, which I have a number for that up top. So that definitely increased by about 7 million or so. A continuation on that. Depreciation and amortization was 161, so that increased a little bit as well, but not majorly. Change in fair value of derivatives. So this is the valuation on Bitcoin here. Got a positive 846 million on it. I was looking at 1.1 billion, I think, or something like that. So there might be some Bitcoins that are being used for other things. That's why they don't get revalued. On that, it gets kind of tricky on it. And then what else do we have here? Total operating expenses was a negative 441 million. But operating income, they actually had 679 million, and that was based on the fair value there. Plus, you got change in fair value of digital assets receivable net. There's the other 346 million, right? So combine those two, and you're looking at, roughly almost 1.2 billion here combined. So that's kind of where that's all together. What else do we have here? That's sizable. Interest income, 12 million here. Other income expense, 5.5 million. Operating income loss, a positive, actually wasn't a loss, it was a positive 1 billion there. And income tax benefit, negative 208 million. So income loss before tax, 808 million. Income loss before tax, 808 million as well, roughly right around the same number there. Net loss, actually had a profit there, 808 million on that. That came out to be $2.29 per share basic and $1.84 diluted. I had them at a little bit higher there. That's mainly because of the HODL number. So if we look at where is that at? So we talked about this yesterday about the EPS. So they came in at 229 and 184. I had them between 295 and 338. But again, I had them at 1.2 billion impact on the HODL. So if we took that down to 800, so let's just do minus 300 million, right? Let's just do that really quick. See where that takes us. Then we get more closer, right? 214 to 257. So that's kind of what I was off on, was the 300 million roughly. All right, 214, that actually would have been right on, right? That would have been right on. Let's see, let's go back to Mara here really quick. Where is it at? There it is. Okay, 214, 229, okay, so much closer to it. So live and learn on that one. I said that was going to be not icy. It was going to be a little bit iffy because of the way that they report the holdings and everything else. But overall, I mean, were they positive on EPS without the HODL? No. They still can't get there for some reason. That they spend too much on compensation. That's a big problem of it. And you can see that over here still. Their compensation here is, where is it at? I had it over here. 42.58% of their revenues. That's just insane. That is insane. So they got to get that down. That should be down like to less than 20%, ideally around like 10% of the company, if not less than that. But a lot of the stuff is obviously stock-based compensation, and that accounted for 54.656 million this quarter here. So 92 million out of that. What does that come out to be? 30, right? Is that 38 million? 38 million is just actual revenue or salaries there. That's still a lot. 38 million in salaries and then 54 million in compensation for stock-based. That's just insane to me. There should be a law against that. It should be, if you're profitable, you can give yourself a nice bonus. If you're not profitable, you don't get a bonus. Just like any private business, if you're not profitable, you're not getting a bonus, right? So why should it be any different for public companies? If you can't be profitable, you shouldn't be getting a bonus. That's just my take on it. That's for all these guys here, actually. But that's just my take. You guys can have your own take as well, but I'm sure you guys would probably agree with me on that one as well. All right, here's what else we got here. Customizing my Bitcoin, we talked about that, 47.8, right? So that's actually pretty good. That's gotten better. So that's at least good. Debt to equity, current ratio, we covered that. Book value of equity assets as well. Let's see, that's 4.7 million. Price to book ratio, 1.2. Enterprise value, market cap plus debt plus minus cash, 5 billion there. EBITDA, 808 million. EV to EBITDA, 6.2. Debt to EBITDA, 3.4. Revenue, 218 million. That's on Bitcoin mining itself, right? General administrative was 92 million. That's 42%. And then the stock dilution happened about 5.27% from the prior quarter when they last reported. So that's where we are at right now with it. Yeah, not a big fan of this general administrative compensation. To me, that's too high. You guys can let me know if you guys disagree, but that's too high, right? I mean, they're paying themselves like they are Googles and Amazons of the world and Apples, which they are not. Yes, I understand you want to retain talent. Fine, give them a good salary and then a decent bonus. But this is just, to me, this is ridiculous. But that's just me. Other than that, getting 75 exahash will help for them. As long as they can have it all within their own umbrella of operations and not being hosted, that should help keep the costs down. Also, with getting maybe possibly better generation miners as well, those should be more efficient as well, so that should help out. So there is some benefit there, and maybe they could possibly squeak out a positive EPS without the HODL impact. But they got to get their costs down on operations. That's just ridiculous. That's just my take. But based on where they are right now, right, and we'll see what the numbers come in for July for them as far as what they made and things like that. I'm between 1784 right now and 2676. They're at 1661. Right there, they're kind of fairly valued right now. Let's update this. I probably should have updated this as well. Current quarter estimate. This is going to be this one here. And the last 3 quarter estimates. So we're looking at the previous data on these guys. What do we come in at here and where do they stand to be at right now based on those numbers? All right, so they should be somewhere between 1699 and 2548. They're at 1661. They're undervalued a little bit. Just looking at the historical data at least, right? Going forward, they should be a little bit higher here as long as Bitcoin stays in these values and they actually have a pretty decent operational month. So that's kind of where I stand on it. I own a little shares. I own like 140 shares of Marathon right here. But I wouldn't be buying more. A couple of reasons. One, operations, right, have been iffy. They've been great at times and they've been crap at times. Also, their executive compensation is out of whack with shareholders. I don't like seeing that. It's okay if you're profitable and everything else. I can understand it, but man, if you can't squeak out a win on it without the FSB impact, that's not good. You need to kind of reevaluate things there, bring yourself down, fix things, and then you can give yourself a bonus. That's kind of my take on it. But yeah, that's probably the reasons why. They do have a huge HODL position, but they're not being really valued on it. They do have debt, obviously about 3.7 billion. That's not until 2030, 2031, or 2031, 2032 as well, due date. So that's out quite a ways out. So, but if Bitcoin goes up in value, they could, and if Bitcoin gets to like 200,000 by the end of the year, they could possibly be EPS positive without the FSB at that point, right? So it just depends on where Bitcoin goes. But I mean, their cost, all-in cost, is like around 160,000 to mine a single Bitcoin. That includes stock-based compensation, obviously, depreciation as well. You include all those things, and you're at much higher cost at that point. Okay, so that's it. All right, you guys can let me know what you guys think, and let's get into our final thing we're going to look at, which is the Ethereum treasury companies here. There have been a lot of questions on it recently on the channel here from you guys asking, what do I think of these guys here? Can they go down more? Can they go up more? And I said, I need to take a look at to see where the market cap is, how much do they actually hodl, what's the value on that, and then see what their MNAV is on that as well, and then talk about it that way. So we got basically 7 companies here: BitMine, SharpLink, BitDigital, Blockchain Technologies, Consensus Solutions, basically GameSquare Holdings, Int Chains Group, and Exodus Movement Incorporated as well. So we have all these guys in here. Exodus, I probably should take them out. I think they are going to be, I think they have more business and other things than what they do have here in Ethereum Holdings. So that one doesn't kind of jive well here, at least, and not in this group maybe. But BitMine, they have right now a market capitalization of 3.9 billion roughly. Ethereum Holdings, 566,776. This is what I was able to find. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one. Might be a little bit higher here. But that's valued at about 2.1 billion. Right, this is as of July of this month. Key strategic rationale for holding Ethereum: mining and staking operations, strategic asset management, goal to acquire 5% of total Ethereum supply. That's their goal there. Their MNAV right now is at about 1.85. Now the big question here is, what kind of MNAV should they be getting? Should they be getting a 2x on the amount that they hodl on Ethereum, right? So I don't know. Personally, I think somewhere around 1.2 to maybe at times 1.5 would be good, right? But they can get overextended on this as well, and they can go up to like 2. We saw some of these guys actually, when they were much higher priced, were like at 5, even higher than that MNAV. That's just lunacy at that point, right? they shouldn't be valued that much unless you really believe that Ethereum is going to be going up 5x in like a short amount of time, like within the next couple of months, 3 to 6 months, I would say. Right? Okay, I could see that happening, but then in time, as Ethereum goes up, that MNAV should come down as well. So that's kind of the way I would look at it. So 1.85, still pretty high on that. SharpLink is next here. Market capitalization about $2 billion. They have 438,000 roughly of Ethereum holdings, valued at about 1.6 billion. And their key strategic rationale is primary treasury reserve asset, Web3 innovation, staking for yielding. They're at only 1.27. I think that's more in line, more where it probably should be right now. Unless, again, you believe that Ethereum is going to be going up 3, 4, 5x in the next 6 months. Well, at that point, it's probably low. BitDigital is next year. BitDigital is also kind of high here on the MNAV, but I think there's a reason for it. Right? Their market cap is 958 million right now. They have 120,000 roughly, valued at about 452 million as of right now, and they're obviously diversified into Ethereum staking, retained holdings, post-merger, pure Ethereum treasury firm. I think they still have a little bit of Bitcoin mining in them as well. They're supposed to be divesting themselves of that business, and they are also going to be spinning off their white fiber, which we talked about earlier in the show, through an IPO there, which is going to be happening probably in a week or two or something like that. So right now, I think that white fiber part of the business is included in their market cap, along with possibly a little bit of the Bitcoin mining. We'll get an update from them on the quarterly results, see where that all stands. So they're getting at 2.12, but I would think if you take out those couple other things, it'd probably be lower. So we'll see where that one goes as well. But right now, based on that, it's kind of high. So we'll see where that all ends up when they do finalize all those deals. Next year is blockchain technology, right? 242 million market cap right now. They got 70,000 Bitcoin, or sorry, 70,000 Ethereum, valued at 263 million right now. Central to staking business, operating validator nodes and accumulating Ethereum. They're at 0.92. So they're actually, based on this, they're actually under the 1 MNAV. So they are the ones that should be actually going up here a little bit. They're probably undervalued in my opinion, if that's the case. Right? Correct me if the numbers are off on any of these guys here. I pulled it in today as best as I could. So if there's a more recent update on this, let me know. Next year is GameSquare Holdings. Games got 110 million in market cap. They own 10,100 Bitcoin. Not Bitcoin, geez, Ethereum. I'm just so used to saying about Bitcoin. Ethereum value is about 38 million there. They pivoted to Ethereum treasury plans for staking services. They're at 2.92. Okay, I think that they are a little too high price right now as it is. If that's what they're going to be doing and that's going to be their main game plan there, they should come down, and they might be coming down some more, right? So I told you guys I got into game when the hype started, but then I saw what was happening with the other ones going down. I'm like, all right. So I got in the morning and I was out by the afternoon. Made like 5% on it. Probably should have sold at a higher price when it was. But nonetheless, you go into it, you kind of see what's going on, you get out. I didn't like what I was seeing there, so I got out relatively quickly. But so that one might be coming down some more here. If we look at it, let's take a look at game really quick, because that one is definitely pretty interesting here. Where's it at? There it is. Going down here to game, right? It's here. Game is at 95 cents. You can see how it spiked here. It was around 72 cents, spiked all the way to 287 at that point, and it's been coming down here, right? So I think people are realizing that the MNAV is a little too high for what it owns actually, and it's going to come down here a little bit more. So if it's at 2.92, we probably may need to have it come down quite a bit more before it's probably fairly priced at that point. Again, unless you believe Bitcoin or Ethereum's going up, 3x in the next 3 to 6 months. And at that point, maybe this would be okay priced. Next is InChains. They have 170 million market cap. They own 7,000 Ethereum there, valued at about 26 million. Their key thing is long-term store of value shift from hardware margins. So I think maybe right now they're, whatever hardware they're making, I don't know what they're making. I have to look into it, but maybe that's why they're being priced the way that they are. So that's kind of hard to tell on that one, along with Exodus, right? So I would probably get rid of these two for now, at least until they fully divest themselves of the hardware margins business and just go in all Ethereum. Or if they do have Ethereum, it's going to be additional on top of it. That's going to make it a little bit tougher to value them, I think, on that. Just on MNAV alone, at least, okay? So that is it. That's kind of my thoughts on it right now. I would say blockchain BTCS is probably undervalued based on this, what I'm seeing here, at least right now. And some of the other guys are maybe a little overvalued as it is. It may need to come down a little bit more. Just my 2 cents. Obviously, as always, not financial advice. All right? Okay. Boy, we've been going pretty quick here, trying to get through all this stuff here. All right, let's get into Q&A. As always, spreadsheets are going to be available on my Patreon members. I'll get this out to you guys later on tomorrow, probably. And I don't think I got it out to you guys today. Just busy with everything else that's happening here, so I do apologize for not getting this out. Link for that is down in the description. If you want to join, a couple bucks a month. You also get access to our private Discord server there, and you get notified of press releases and SEC filings on there as well for all the companies that I cover. So that's pretty nice space there right now. It's a beautiful space. No, I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to go imitating Trump. All right, let's get into Q&A here. See what we got. We'll call it a day. All right, as always, if you guys could preface the question with a question mark, I'm going to work my way up, and I see a lot of comments here, so it's going to take me a while to get through this. We're ready. Let's see here. Okay, let's see, where should we start? I see maybe Victor C. Okay, hold on. I'm going way up. 2 minutes left to cycle. All right, here we go. I think we can start here. Let's see, John Kurtz says, tomorrow the Bitcoin rally begins. Powell will change his wording in his speech to be more dovish. Possible like we are stopping all QE and the tariffs are less of a threat to inflation. That would be great. Kitewins has been crying since 2013. Obviously, I'm guessing you didn't buy Bitcoin at that time. Joe here, Bitcoin will crash but will be bought up by those who are waiting with cash on the sidelines. How much will it crash though? 15%, 20%, 30%? I mean, we saw a 30% corrections here already twice in the past year. Sadie, thank you so much as always for the thumbs up and the likes. Victor's got a question here. After listening to your show, I sold SBET and put my cash in BMNR. My average is 36, even though I am losing 25. Once BMNR hits 45, I will be break even. Thanks. Yeah, so BMNR obviously has Tom Lee in it, so I think that one is going to have some potential there eventually, but I think right now it might have been overpriced. KB Dubs, Mara, CEO, can't answer a question. Go figure. Fred laughing at you. Bull schmucks flossing his teeth with his compensation package. Yeah, I listened to the conference call. Highly recommend you guys do that. Tom Harrison, question. In the next 3 to 4 months, am I going to go to sleep one night and wake up with a parabolic 10,000 to 15,000 overnight move squeeze with all of the bullish news? How can we not? I think so. I don't know if it's going to happen overnight. It might happen during the day, actually. Let's see. All right. Bang Bang says Mara's cost to mine is 165,000 per coin. Looks like absolute gong show. Yeah, they gotta do better. Cement Pellet says Mara is still trash. The only thing that's holding up is their hodl right now. Bang Bang says moving my Mara profits to Cleanspark tomorrow. Cleanspark is profitable like IREN. All others probably not. Yeah, Cleanspark looks very probable to be profitable without the hodl, along with IREN there. Okay, let's see. Defcon says Sarmelon gaming sailor calls Bitcoin mining a poop business, so name your company. They're all poop. Possibly. I don't think they're all poop. I think some of them are better than others. Let's see. Bang Bang says BitDeer will be close to profitable, and by year's end, they'll be more efficient than Cleanspark and really close to IREN. BitDeer is still the sleeper. I view it as a younger IREN. I don't know if they're a younger IREN. I think, well, they went public here on NASDAQ here, when was it? 2 years ago, something like that? So in that regard, they would be younger. But I think they've been around longer than IREN has. I think. I could be wrong on that. All right. Let's see. Sorry, Melon Gaming says IREN was profitable at 80. 120 is heaven. Yeah. Randy Allen says, I'm very disappointed in Bitfarms. Be patient in that one. They're turning the ship around. I think it might do better going forward here. Right, there's some good things happening for them. Stock buyback potentially. Riot potentially getting close to being done selling their shares there as well. That should be good. They're also moving to the United States for their reporting purposes, along with going to GAAP accounting for the United States. Those all things should help, but it's going to take a little while. Okay, Chris says year-end will start bear market. I don't think so. I mean, you know my point on this. I don't think that's going to be the case, but we'll see. I could be wrong. You could be right. Let's see. Metaplanet. IREN is embarrassed by BTC mining. Doesn't even mention it in their homepage. Did they? Well, maybe they did change their homepage. Let me take a look at it. Let's see here. IREN. Let's see. IREN investors. IREN. Infrastructure powering AI. Oh, yeah, they do. Not, well, at least not here. Let's see if they can mention Bitcoin anywhere. Purpose-built AI data centers, Bitcoin. Let's see if we can find Bitcoin. There is no mention of Bitcoin on the homepage. You are right. So here's the, where's it at? Screen. There it is. So they put out all the stuff that they have, all the stats, total acres, secured power, 2.9 gigawatts basically, total area, purpose-built data centers. Yeah, I would have to listen to this to see if they mentioned anything about Bitcoin mining there. Powered by 100% renewable energy, trusted AI infrastructure, tomorrow ready, owned and operated. Why doesn't this, that's kind of hard to read though. I probably have it too hot, zoomed in too much. There we go. And control solutions, get your AI to market faster with IREN Cloud. Okay, yeah, they're going more towards like trying to be a hyperscaler than anything else. Interesting, okay. I don't know. Oh, there's our friend, Mike Alfred. See Daniel and Will Roberts. Trusted companies, NVIDIA, Supermicro. Anything on Bitcoin? Nothing on Bitcoin. Yeah, I've been searching for Bitcoin here. There is no mention of Bitcoin here. But we're seeing that with quite a few of these companies that are getting into HPC AI, or at least trying to get into it. We saw it also with, I think Hot 8 has done the same thing. Wolf, same thing. So they're all kind of, and the reason for this is messaging towards investors and potential suitors for HPCI. I think that's the reason why they're doing it. Even though they should be proud of what they do. I mean, Bitcoin is their main business. That's what's giving them all the capital to build out. So I don't think they should be embarrassed by it. At least that's my take on it. But they probably have some consultant telling them, oh, you got to go in this direction and things like that. But it is what it is. All right, let's go back to Q&A. We got a lot to cover here on the Q&A as well. Let's see. Okay, but you guys are having deep conversations with Chris here. Let me see here. Okay. All right. DEFCON 2 says, correction, if Mara is bust, so is every miner. That's because no other miner wants to continue past 2028. Well, I don't know if they don't want to continue past 2028. I think it's just the possibility of HPCI has been so tempting, right? With the potential of money that we saw there, obviously with CoreWeave and Core Scientific. I think that's kind of when everybody's like, there might be actually something there to this. So, and I think maybe IREN has been planning this for a little bit longer than others, though. Let's see. See if there's any questions. Yeah, I know you guys are having any comments between yourselves about Mara. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Sarmelin says IREN just hit 50 exahash. I guess nowadays that means they threw in the towel. Yeah, I mean, based on your guys' conversation, yeah, it's not throwing in the towel. They do have the optionality to grow more. If they get an HPCI deal, great. If they don't, they can grow the Bitcoin mining side of things. Let's see. Bang Bang says, I might be able to have a cheaper cost to mine at home than Mara at this point. I mean, come on. The big thing is the hosting, right? Hosting has always been more costly way of doing things because you're having to pay somebody that has to pay for their employees, their operations, all that stuff. They got to make money on it at that point. So you're always paying more. What they really should do is buy up those sites if they can and convert them into their own sites. That'd probably be the better way to go. Probably save, 2 cents per megawatt or per kilowatt, whatever it is. What else? Here's a question. Okay, congratulations to Mara on lowering their all-in cost per coin from 166,000 Q1 to 164,000 Q2. Movement in the right direction, at least. That's a way to be positive, right? Look at the silver lining and all this stuff. They have a long ways to go, though. Let's see what else we get. Okay, let's see. Jerome, how can they not provide cash cost per BTC? Probably too high to reveal. Well, they had a question during the conference call on that, and they danced around that question. They gave a nice spin on it, right, but didn't really answer the question there, which I don't think they want to be out there. I mean, people can figure it out on themselves, basically what it is. So, it's out there. You might as well admit to what it is and say what you're going to do going forward. Alrighty. Okay, sorry guys, I'm trying to find a question here. I'm trying to read through some of this stuff just to see what it is. See if there's any questions. A lot of stuff you guys are just having a conversation between you guys. All right. Andrea says, totally agree with you, Seb, on the compensation. That is way too high. Yeah. Okay. So thank you. I'm not the only one that thinks that it's too high. Sorry, Melon says, Fred, Theo thanks you all for your free money. He has a new yacht and a Lambo on order. Yeah. Let's see. All right. Sorry. All right, Jerome says, Mauro, back to $30 to $40 range. I'll be happy. I think a lot of people will be happy if it goes back to that range for sure. Sorry, Melon's got a question here. Seb, if you were Fred, Theo, would you buy a mega yacht or spend the $40 million buying a high-end beach house with multiple exotic cars? No, but that's just me, right? I could do that job for $1 million a year and be happy. Wouldn't need that much. My big thing was would be to the shareholders, right? If the company's profitable and everything else, okay, then you guys can pay me a nice bonus, right? A percentage of the profits there. So if the company's in profits, let's say the company makes $10 million in profits, right? Pay me, 5% of that and a bonus. That'd be fair. 10%, whatever it might be. Something like that. I could see that, but not what they're getting now is just ridiculous in my opinion. Let's see. Defcon says, Seb, you should have Sam Tabar on your show for an interview. He agrees with Sailor. Bitcoin mining is poop business. That's yet to be determined. At times, historically, it has been a poop business when you look at the cycles, right? If you have an up cycle, bull cycle, you have like 2, 3, maybe 4 quarters where the miners make tremendous profits at that point, right? And then you go into a bear market for 3 years and it's poop. So a lot of the profits were always made in those couple of quarters there. But if we have an extended cycle, things might actually change for us. That's kind of where I'm leaning towards. We'll see, though. Let's see. Gary says, IREN will earn more profits with 50 exahash than Mara or any other miner with more exahash. IREN has a great cost structure, right, for the power that they're getting there also. And they're pretty lean when it comes to their stock-based compensation and general administrative cost as well. And that's good. Okay. Why isn't there any news about Square mining machines? CORZ were going to receive the machines in Q3, but now that CoreWeave doesn't care about mining. Yeah, I mean, it was kind of hushed for like the last quarter even. They weren't talking about it that much. We heard that they're going to be getting the block machines in Q3, and it's been hush, right? So one, is Block actually manufacturing those machines? And is Core still buying those? But if CoreWeave is buying them out and they're not interested in Bitcoin mining, they probably are going to cancel that order, I'm guessing. Why would you buy those things if you're going to be looking to get rid of those businesses anyways, or those buildings potentially that you don't need? TV does question, Mara is pure trash with their exact stock-based compensation, pure trash. Okay, more of a comment, not a question, but yeah, I mean, I agree, it's too high. All right. Defcon 2 says, it's irrelevant, they're not growing, their profits will shrink, asks Seb. If they're not growing, as long as Bitcoin price is going up faster than network hash rate, they can still make more profits. So there's a lot of strings you can pull on with Bitcoin, network hash rate, energy costs, things like that. You can pull on those strings to still be profitable. So there's many ways to do that as well. So it doesn't mean that they're not growing, is that they're not going to be getting more profitable. Bitcoin goes up to 150,000, 200,000, they're going to be more profitable at that point. All right, Jerome, question, how Mara consensus by Zach on Yahoo is complete fraud? They report a loss on Yahoo, but they had a positive EPS of $1.86 per share. Did they report? Well, are they looking, they might be looking at a loss if they're not including the FASB HODL portion of it. So that might be it. All right. Let's see. How will Cleanspark and IREN look with regard to compensation costs? I mean, we can kind of see what they were in the past, at least, with those guys. Let's take a look at Cleanspark here really quick on that for prior quarter. Where's that screen? There it is. Right, so prior quarter for them, let's see here, revenue, general administrative plus payroll was only 14% of their revenue, 26.9, right? General administrative expense itself was only 6.4% of their revenues. So pretty good. Not the 42 or whatever percent we saw with Mara. IREN last quarter was at 10%, but that's been coming down here as they are getting more and more hash rate up, right? So they were at 10.29. Prior to that, they were at 12.5. We're kind of high here in Q1, 29%, but their revenues have been increasing as they've been getting more hash rate online, right? That's why I'm saying scale matters with these guys. You got to get these things up to a certain scale in order to cover the cost of the overhead and everything else and make it profitable for you in the long run. And they've gotten to scale. So I'm expecting for Q3, they're probably going to be under 10%, maybe around 8% as well, somewhere around there. So that's actually really good. Love seeing that. So I have no problem with like those guys getting nice bonuses. I mean, not like $20 million bonuses or anything like that, but a couple $1 million bonuses because they are profitable. I have no problem with that. So I'm okay with that. That's kind of where we are with those guys. Okay, let's see. Okay, talked about that. Okay, Victor C. Question: between SBET and BMNR and the MNF difference is a big deal. SBET, what do you have SBET at? Let me see here. SBET 1.27 and BMNR was 1.85. Yeah, so it's, you can see that SBET is probably pretty well priced, maybe a little high, but not as high as Bitmine. Bitmine is definitely higher at this point right now. But again, depending on how you value these guys, do you give them a 2x MNAV or do you give them lower? I think lower makes more sense. Only time this makes sense is if you believe that Ethereum or Bitcoin, you know, regardless of the treasury company that you're looking at, if you believe that's going to be going like 2x in the next 6 months or something like that, then I can see them getting a little bit higher MNAV at that point. But over time, it should come back down as one, the price of the asset there goes up, and their price more or less stays in line and goes flat or actually comes down a little bit. It should come down. That's the way I would look at it. Okay, let's see. All right. Victor's got a question here. The advantage BMNR has, it could raise easy, similar to MSTR. Is that correct? Well, they have Tom Lee there, also along with, I think, Kathy Woods got into it as well, bought some shares there, I think. So they do have that. They have people on the inside that could definitely point other people in their direction and, have them buy there. All right, let's see. Okay. What's happened to Cypher? It's dropped a boatload. Well, we're seeing a lot of these guys correct here. Not only Cypher, IREN's coming down, Cleanspark's coming down, Mars coming down. Mars actually up in the after hours, but more or less these guys have been coming down here a little bit as Bitcoin has been stagnant, going flat. So we need Bitcoin to start, rocketing up a little bit more for these guys to start bouncing again. All right, Tom's got a question here. In regards to you not taking money to promote a company you don't really know, it shows integrity like Rourke and Fountainhead, not willing to compromise as an architect, works in the quarry instead. I think that's good. I think that's good. I'll take it. Thank you. Let's see it. Alexander Hawk question: is it time to sell Mara and rotate it into a better miner? Will you sell? I own, like I said, 140 shares. I don't own that much, right? What is that worth? Maybe $1,500, something like that. That's maybe $2,000 or something like that. It's not worth a lot. I'll hold on to it, see where it goes. But would I put in a lot more than that into it? No. But that's just me. But I've been talking about this for, 2-3 years now, about their operations not being the greatest, and that's what I look for. I want great operations, somebody that's as close to 100% uptime as possible, which is not easy, but somebody that's close to that is always going to be better than somebody that's, 100% 1 month, and then for the next 6 months they're down to 80, 75% or something like that. So that's kind of the way I've always looked at it. Cost also, all that stuff, stock-based compensation, employee compensation, all that stuff. It's been always high for Mara. So I've never gotten into Mara because of those reasons. But that's just me. And maybe it was the right choice to make. All right. Perfect. I think I've caught up to all you guys' questions here. I think we're going to call it a day. Let me see. Gary comes in here with another question, maybe. Oh, no, he's got a comment there. Gary says, Dan Roberts has left open the possibility of more mining, and if profits are greater than HPCI in the future, they aren't currently, but will he follow the profit? I think he will, right? And again, That's why I like IRENs, because they have the optionality. They can go into Bitcoin mining, they can go into HPCI, they could become a hyperscaler as well. Hyperscaler is going to be expensive though, but they could get into that if they wanted to. But it's going to take a lot of investment there. But they have optionality, so I'm not too worried about that. They're a great Bitcoin operator, one of the best, if not the best right now. I think Cleanspark is a very close second to them as it is. So that's kind of why I'm in it. I'm in it for the best ones. The best ones right now, in my view, are IREN, Cleanspark. And then after that, it gets a little more tricky. But those two at least are the best ones there. Let's see. All right. Yeah, I think I've caught up to you guys. You guys are having a conversation on which is a better way to go, Bitcoin mining or treasury companies. That is yet to be determined. Yes, strategy has outperformed here in the recent, but will it continue going forward? We'll see. Alexander says, I only got 58 shares. Marat, okay, so you're even at a better cost structure than I am. I'm at like $12 or $13 a share or something like that. So yeah, you got some profit in it. It's not a lot of shares. Maybe move it into somebody else that's better operations, things like that. That's up to you though. All right, that's it. We'll call it a day. We'll see tomorrow what happens with Bitcoin. Where's Bitcoin at right now? Bitcoin's up actually a little bit, $547, up 0.47%. So maybe we'll have a good night. And then once the U.S. market opens again, we'll have a red day. I mean, it just seems like it's having that kind of go at it this last 2 weeks or so. We do great on weekends. Monday comes around, we're down. We do great overnight. Mornings come around and in the United States, and then we go in the red again. All right, that's it. We'll see what happens. We'll cover it all, obviously. But thank you all for coming in, as always. I hope you guys have a great night. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Love you all. Until then, bye.